Lily Craig is a freelancer. She's worked with Yorkshire Dance and with Leeds Playhouse. She is an arts facilitator, helping to reduce social isolation and loneliness, particularly amongst the elderly. I very much enjoyed talking to her, and I'm sure you'll enjoy listening. Welcome to another coronavirus extraordinary episode of Light on Leeds, where today I've got Lily Craig remoting to speak to me. Hello, Lily.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. How are you on this rainy Friday?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm actually quite enjoying the rain because it's coming and going so quickly that I feel like I'm getting sunshine and then rain and sunshine. I feel like I'm living in like 3 different countries all in one place. It's great.
That's pretty much the UK.
Yeah, literally.
So Lily, you're involved in all sorts of amazing things in Leeds. Can you tell me about some of them?
Yeah, so I kind of define what I do as an arts facilitator. It's taken me quite a long time to get to that title because I feel like what I do is so crazily varied. But I do a lot of work that's surrounding kind of older people and reducing social isolation and loneliness. And I do that for lots of different organisations. So I've done that for Leeds Playhouse. I do a lot of work with Yorkshire Dance on a really big care home project there. I run some movement sessions at Richmond Hill Elderly Action, and then I also run my own project with 2 other amazing artists called Fragments, which is a totally new project that we've kind of conjured up in the last year or so. So quite varied.
And so you seem to have quite a lot of emphasis towards the elderly. Is there a reason why you sort of got into that aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean it's quite interesting really. I did a master's at Leeds University a couple of years ago now, maybe like 3 or 4. God, it feels like yesterday, but it was a while ago. And it was the first year that they were doing the masters, and it was called Applied Theatre and Intervention, and it was about using theatre in a totally different way, and bringing it to people who may not usually get access to it, and then using it for a purpose. So maybe for, in prisons and schools to educate. And actually I'd stumbled on using the arts and theatre as a way to work with older people to reduce isolation and loneliness. And so within my masters, I got a bit of work experience working with Yorkshire Dance actually on an amazing project that they were doing, which was called Young at Arts, and it was a 2-year initiative that looked at how older people could get involved in the arts, and it was kind of a collaboration with all the big organisations in Leeds, so like Northern Ballet, Leeds Playhouse, Opera North, and it was an amazing experience for me, being a young 24-year-old at the time, working with all these older people who were just so giving and so open and friendly. And I kind of ended up working for a lot longer on the project, and they asked me to become a paid member of staff on the project. And from that moment onwards, I've just felt so connected to older people and really wanted to just continue to build an amazing creative and art scene for old people living in Leeds, and in particular with a focus on people living with dementia as well. And that kind of came from a personal experience of that. So it's kind of just been something I stumbled on, but I've fallen into it and fallen completely in love with working with older people and all of the people that support those people as well. So it's been lovely.
And so did you get a lot of really good response from that project?
Yeah, it was amazing really. I think we did so many crazy things, and so many things that were just totally out of the ordinary for kind of older people's projects. We did one of the things we did was at the Real Drunk Food Project, once a month we cooked a 3-course meal for older people, and we served 3 different cocktails with each course. And we spent the night just talking and reminiscing and sharing memories, and everyone ended up leaving a little bit drunk, and it was amazing. And it's just those sort of moments of just really challenging what it means to be old, what it means to be an older person in Leeds in particular, and it just really brought people together. And from that project I've kind of connected with so many older people, and I've got a group of wonderful older people that I work with on a regular basis, and we've kind of gone off on our own and sort of created a little collective where we make our own work, and we got a little bit of funding. So yeah, it was amazing, and it truly did transform people's lives and brought people together. And it felt so powerful. And I think a lot of people that were involved had never really seen the arts in that way. And I think that was really special for me, being so young and not knowing exactly what I wanted to do, but also for those people who were just, were at that later stage in life and felt like the arts maybe didn't have a place for them at the time. So yeah, it was really great.
And has it been quite difficult for you to sort of maintain your work with the elderly during lockdown?
Oh yes, it's impossible. It's actually been such a difficult time. I mean, just in terms of my work generally, my work is all about being with people and connecting with people, and not being allowed to do that is so hard. And being able to, having to sit at home and do work when actually all I want to do is be with the people I see regularly and meet new people and do fun things. So that's been really tough. But I've been doing a lot of phone calls to older people as well, just checking in, and actually they're coping quite well, really. I think they're giving me a lot of advice to be like, we'll get through this. We've been through hard times. We'll get through hard times, we've got each other. And they just kind of remind me at all times that how important it is to be connected and to have friendships. And so yeah, I think for those people it's tough. They want to go out, they want to do stuff. They want to feel safe going out. That's the biggest thing at the moment.
Yeah.
And they don't feel like that. So yeah, I think it's hard. It's been really hard for everybody, but I think the older community and people in care homes especially as well it's really tough. It's a really hard time. So yeah.
So you were talking about as well that so two of our previous guests, Chris and Anna, you're working with those two on a care home project called Fragments.
Yeah, so I have been working with Chris and Anna for a little while now. We're friends more than anything, but we also love working together as well. And we kind of all came together on a project which was about creating immersive experiences. And during that project, we were like, this is great. We're really challenging what theatre is about, what arts experiences are supposed to be about. But it felt like it was kind of, for me especially, missing a mark with being accessible to community groups and for community groups. And so we kind of came away and thought, what can we do that brings people together in this really unusual way, but is for people who might not be able to access this usually. And so from that sort of conversation, we came up with Fragments, which is about taking immersive 360 environments into care homes. So as part of that project, we did our first ever environment in January. And we spent quite a lot of time in the care home talking to residents, finding out what they enjoyed, what they missed, if they could have a space that was completely new, what it would look like. And then from those conversations came the idea of creating a virtual or indoor park.
Okay.
A lot of people missed going on a walk with their friends and their families and miss being outside. So we commissioned some builders, and we designed a space in collaboration with them to create an indoor park that had live plants, that had live grass, had a water feature, sounds of birds, a 24-hour soundtrack that went through the night, the sun that rose, and benches. And then we created a full activity sort of schedule throughout the week. And the space was open for 24 hours, so carers could use it in the middle of the night, so residents could go in with family members. And and it was super special for us. And I don't think I've ever spent that much time in a care home, and it just became like a second home, and those residents were so welcoming and open. But the biggest thing was that we created these amazing new experiences for those people, and for those experiences to be with carers and with family and with us. So it was a pretty special project, really. And we're hoping to do it again and build other new environments and other spaces, so not just care homes but maybe hospitals, and working with lots of different people to bring immersive theatre into everyday life spaces. So that's kind of the goal with that project.
That's really exciting. So I imagine all of that's been put on hold during this period, has it?
Yeah, it has. It's a bit of a shame, really, because we're really getting a bit of momentum, sort of doing our first pilot in January, and then we partnered with 2 other care homes. But obviously, we've had to kind of halt all of that because, I mean, obviously, care homes are naturally in like a crisis at the moment, and it's absolutely awful what's happening. And so we're just gearing ourselves up to be ready for when this is all over, to be the response that people need. So to be able to create something fun and a nice experience for when this is all over, so when we can start reconnecting with people living in care homes. So we're ready to go, but we just want to be prepared and make sure we look after the people that have been overlooked in the last couple of months. So yeah, it's been a bit of a shame, really, but we'll get there again. I'm positive about it.
Yeah, and there's something to look forward to then, isn't there? You know, especially like you say, with that
Absolutely.
particular sector being so adversely affected by all of this.
Yeah,
it'd be nice for them to have something.
Oh yeah, totally, and that's what it's all about. It's not about us going out and being like we want to create work. It's about them having an experience that's memorable, or even just different from everyday life, and that's what we're really ready to do whenever the time's right.
So when you've been sort of doing, sort of asking for feedback from elderly people about these sort of projects, have you heard things that you would not necessarily have expected to hear that they want out of this?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, just working with older people generally, it's just so apparent to me how much we think we know what older people want and need, and actually we don't. We need to talk to people, we need to connect with people, because everybody's different. And something I've been thinking about quite a lot is when I've been in care homes or older people's groups and they're playing songs from like the 60s or 70s, and I'm like, this is great, this is part of your era, and they're like, yeah, but I didn't like that music, I like rock music, or I like this type of music. And I can't help but think about what it'd be like when I'm in a care home in however many years' time, and they're playing some mainstream pop that's going on right now, and they're like, come on, get up and dance, and you're like, no, I never liked this. Why am I being told I should like this right now? And I think that's kind of what I take with me at all times when I'm having conversations with them about everybody's different, they're just humans, they've got different interests, different likes, and I mean, some of the things that I've seen just in being in care homes is that they're also still like, they still are attracted to people, they still have like kind of emotions. And I've seen some hilarious moments when young men come into care homes and the women are like, oh my god, a young man in ages. So it's they're just people, and like everything they say is unexpected and joyful and about who they are, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I suppose what it is really, it's like assuming that a whole cohort of people liked exactly the same music just because it's from the same era.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. I try and always think about what songs would be like the worst that I could possibly hear, and then what I could do to what songs I could say that I'd really like to enjoy in like 60 years time. But I mean, yeah, who knows what the care home system will be like at that time. You never know.
And so as an arts facilitator, you've been able to use that role to bring art into people's lives and bring them together and stop them feeling so socially isolated?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I hope so. It's hard to know for sure with arts projects the impact you're having, but I guess the verbal feedback that you get and the relationships you build is a sign from them that they might be enjoying it. I'm also a trained Dementia Care Mapper, so as part of my role at Yorkshire Dance, I go into care homes and I use Dementia Care Mapping as a tool to evaluate a dance and music project. So Dementia Care Mapping is like a totally crazy tool that is super complex, and I'm happy to explain it to anybody who wants to know more. But it's basically just it's using observations and behaviours to create a sort of picture of what someone might be experiencing or feeling when something is happening. So it's about kind of taking away the art of expectation that someone with dementia can verbalize how they're feeling and turning it into a formalized observation. So there's rules and there's kind of codes that you've got to abide by, but it does give us a sense of what someone might be experiencing. And for this project in particular, we're using dementia care mapping, which hasn't really been used in this way before, to evaluate an arts project. And
right.
It's quite weird that an arts project would have some sort of like quantitative data to show its purpose. And then so that's been quite interesting because I've never had anything like that before. So I can use that data to back up what the project is doing for those older people, which is a totally new way of looking at things. But yeah, I hope people are getting a lot from the projects, and I hope they're enjoyable. But also I know that some people it might not be their thing. They might just want to sit and read and not be encouraged to dance to some crazy music, and that's fine too. So
yeah, because I suppose it's a similar thing to this thing between people who are outgoing or more sort of introverted. What could be a great experience for one person is not necessarily for another.
Absolutely, yeah. And we've all got to be person-centred just generally in our daily lives, but also especially in arts projects. It's more important than ever that we're constantly checking in, we're constantly asking, is this what you want to do? Is this what you want to be a part of? Is this something that you're enjoying? And actually some arts projects don't necessarily always get the participant's voice in there, and I think that is key. Like you have to talk to people, you have to know what they want, because everybody's different, everyone's got different ideas and interests, and just being person-centered throughout an arts project is like super important.
Yeah, definitely, because otherwise you're just assuming, aren't you, what it is that a certain section of society wants.
Totally, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And how have you been coping yourself, Lily, during this difficult period?
Well, yeah, in lots of ways, I think. I don't know, it feels like it's gone really, really quickly, but also it's been a really long time, and that's such a weird feeling. I live in a one-bed flat in the city centre, so that's been quite tough. I quite like going out in green spaces, and when the weather's not great, it's quite hard to be able to stay in one room, I guess. But I feel like we've been, me and my boyfriend have been doing a lot of crazy things. We've been creating videos to share to our friends that have been very weird and wonderful, and I wrote a song for my brother, and I'm a terrible singer, and I recorded it and sent it to him as just as a way to keep things lighthearted and fun. And yeah, I think just been setting myself different creative tasks and seeing how they go, and then just connecting with people on a regular basis. I feel really lucky that I've got lots of people who I could just call or text or FaceTime or whatever to just have a chat to them and see what they're up to. And I've actually connected with quite a lot of people that I've maybe not spoken to in a while, just because life's been so crazy busy, and that feels like this is the moment to do that, to bring people back together and say, hey, what have you been doing, how are you getting on? And also there's been tough times as well, like it's like you constantly reflecting on yourself. Constantly, like I've never like stared at myself in a mirror for a long period of time, but there's mirrors everywhere in my flat, and like I can't escape them. I look so different. I don't know, I've not worn makeup since March, and I literally would never go out the house without makeup, and now I'm just a totally different person. So yeah, I don't know, it's just like trialing different things out and constantly reflecting and going, is this a good day or is this a bad day? And it's okay, whatever day it is, and just going with that and being self-aware of that. So
yeah, you just got to sort of take every day as it comes, really, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, because we don't know what's going to happen from day to day, so it's each day is very different from the next, which I guess is quite nice.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think most of the time I felt quite positive about everything, but then just occasionally there's just days where it's like, oh, I've had enough.
which I think is fair enough in normal life. Do you know what I mean? So during lockdown, it's equally understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you been finding like ways to be creative or fun or doing anything completely wild that you wouldn't have done before?
I wouldn't say completely wild, but well, I knew I had a little bit more time, so I signed up for it's a charity called Re-Engage. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Oh, no, I haven't.
So basically, I can't remember where I read it, but they were asking for volunteers to have telephone conversations with elderly people who may be isolated. So so I did all my training for that and everything, and I've been given my first person to call on Sunday, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, amazing.
So I do feel like it's sort of, you know, for me personally, because I don't have any small children to educate at home or anything, it's freed me up a little bit to think about volunteering, whereas I sort of thought my life was so busy before that I didn't really have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And definitely been doing more creative things. I've been really enjoying, I'm so gutted that it's finished, Grayson's Art Club. I don't know if you saw that on Channel 4.
Oh, yeah, I saw a little bit of it actually, yeah.
And that's just been really lovely and just felt like a really great thing to watch during lockdown. And he's giving you sort of loads of hints and tips, and you see loads of different people in their way of looking at art, and just kind of giving that message across that it's not about anything being perfect. It's just giving things a go, really, and not caring so much about, I don't know, sort of external people looking in it. It's just about doing it for you and making yourself feel better.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I've done a little bit of that, and I've just had, I think whilst I was talking to you, I've just had somebody come and deliver me some watercolour paper, which I'm just experimenting with.
What a treat.
I know. Well, I stupidly bought watercolours and didn't do any research into it, and then bought a completely different type of paper that was not worth it.
Oh God, I know. I'm learning so much about just arts and crafts generally at the moment. I've got some rubbish paints and I'm like, I've got no good paper, so it's just terrible. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just painting, it's fine.
Yeah. No one's going to see it.
Exactly. It's going to go in the recycling after this. So.
Yeah, so that's been really nice. Have you always lived in Leeds, Lily?
No, I haven't. I'm actually a bit afraid to say I'm actually from Manchester. If I'm allowed.
You don't have to be afraid to say that. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah, no, I'm originally from Manchester, so not that far away, but came to Leeds because of uni, and then stuck around because I loved it so much, and I just love the north generally. So I just was always looking for another northern city to move to that felt a little bit like Manchester, but also had something totally different and maybe a little bit smaller as well, because Manchester's huge now and I can't walk from one side of the city to another, which drives me mad. So no, just kind of lived here since being 18, so 8 years, 9 years, quite a bit of time, but yeah, I love it. I feel like I'm an honorary loiner. I feel allowed to say that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that is what happens. I mean, I'm not originally from Leeds either, but I just sometimes feel like the city just adopts you, and then you just get into it.
Whereabouts are you from originally?
I'm from County Durham, well, all over really, but County Durham originally, and then I sort of kept moving more into Yorkshire. So I've lived in North Yorkshire, I've lived in York, and now I've lived in Leeds for, I think it's 16 years this year. And I've never left. I love it here.
It's great. It's a great place.
What would you say is the best thing about the city?
Oh, so many things. I think it's changed for me what the best thing is over the last couple of years, but I think originally it was about the city being full of just so many great things, so many cool things to go to as well. Being an 18-year-old, I was like, where's cool to go to? And I was like, yeah, Leeds is cool. But kind of just spending more and more time here, I've realised that actually it's so culturally rich. There's such a great sense of community just wherever you go, whether that be in the city centre or in different postcodes. There's people are really together and really like feel close, and they know each other and they know things about each other, and it just feels so lovely, and I love that. And also just being I kind of look at Leeds as like a medium-sized pond in terms of the arts, and I felt like really intimidated by when I was 23 starting kind of my career, and I felt like Leeds' medium pond was something that I could jump into being a small fish, and I've always felt like I'm always making a little mark on something, even though it's, it's not huge, but I don't feel like I'm being swept away with loads of other things happening, because everybody's listening to each other, everyone's creative, everyone's supportive, and I've always really respected that about Leeds, that whatever you're doing is important and it's making an impact whatever size it is, and I love that about the city. I think it makes me feel special.
That's a great answer. And what would you say is something that is not so great about the city?
Oh, I mean, the first thing I thought about was Call Lane on a bank holiday. Can't go anywhere near that place. It drives me bad. People are crazy on a bank holiday on Call Lane. But a couple of other things I think would be, I guess, I live quite close to Leeds Market and Kirkgate area, and I go to quite a few pubs along Kirkgate, and I feel like I spend a lot of my time there. I've always wanted to see that area be supported and invested in properly, because it's such a rich part of the history, and especially Leeds Market. Like I'm constantly praying that they don't get rid of the outdoor market and turn it into a shiny hotel.
Yeah.
I feel like it's such a great place, and the sense of community in Kirkgate as well is just, it feels big, and it feels like you could walk into it and you'd just be kind of welcomed with open arms. I wish that area it had more investment and in the independence and making the city feel as one, rather than having to fight against big corporations and big investments. So yeah, that's what I'd hope.
Yeah, that's a good one. And if somebody had been a long-term resident of Leeds, would you be able to tell them about something that you would consider to be a hidden gem, but that they may never have heard of?
Yeah, so I think I've got two things, sort of, just because I was like, oh, I like them both, and it's really hard to pick. One of them would be in Kirkgate Market, Out. I don't know if you've ever eaten there.
I haven't eaten there, but I have heard of it, yeah.
Oh, it's so good. So just generally, in fact, I first came across the guy that works it Out on that thing I was talking about before about the cocktails with older people.
Oh yeah.
He was cooking at the Real Junk Food Project, and then I saw that he was opening up something in Kirkgate Market, and I was like, yes, because that food was amazing. And then I read about kind of what it was all about, and the fact that it's a sustainable cafe. It only uses what products are available, and it uses local products and what's in the market at that time. And so that means it's a limited menu, but the menu is always so great. The food is so delicious, and I feel like stepping into there, you immediately are offered a free cup of filter coffee, a glass of water, and just like really lovely, welcoming vibes. So I'd probably recommend that. And then for a bit of a boogie, I don't know if you've heard of Mabgate Bleach.
I haven't.
It's a really cool venue. Right near Mabgate. It's in the basement of Mabgate Mills.
Oh, okay.
And it's a really cool music venue that puts on independent gigs by independent promoters, and it's it's very like kind of rough and ready in terms of its like design. It's like just kind of really just raw, I guess. I don't know, like it's not like someone's come in and like knocked down all the walls. It just is what it is. And it's really great, and it's run by some really nice people, and they've got some really cool gigs on there. So I'd urge people to go and look up what they've got going on when things get back to normal, and go and support a local independent and watch some of their gigs, because it's a great place.
I definitely will. That sounds absolutely fantastic. I'll put that on my list of things to do when we're eventually all allowed out and things are open again. What will you be doing for the rest of your day today?
Well, I've got a big quiz with all of my old uni friends tonight, and we made it a weekly thing, and I'm going to be doing that. It's getting more and more competitive as the quiz go on, because everyone's trying to be more creative than each other. And I did the first one, so now I'm like, God, I can't believe everyone's been thinking about all these cool ideas. And last time we had does it a sink or float round. So my friend threw things into a bucket and things floated or sank. And
that's a great idea.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing that, and then I'm probably going to have a drink tonight because I've not had anything this week, and I've got some nice wine in. So I'm just going to be chilling. You know, I'm going to finish after this and just really enjoy the weekend because I feel like I've worked really hard this week.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, make sure you enjoy yourself.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming along and speaking to me, and good luck with all of your projects.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really nice talking to you.
You too. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Lily Craig came to tell me all about her work with the elderly. She has been helping to reduce social isolation and loneliness. She trained as a Dementia Care Mapper and tells us all about her work and how important it is. She's also working with two of my previous guests, Chris and Anna, on the Fragments care home project. Lily chose a song this week by a friend of hers. The song is called Heavy and is by a band called Dreuw, Dreuw. As usual, all the links to everything are in the podcast notes. I hope you're all taking care of yourselves whilst we're apparently easing our way out of lockdown. Just keep looking after yourselves and stay cheerful. Bye.
You lay there with arms so silent, I can barely say a verse. The space was blank, I know I can feel it, but your body says it all. This is shouldn't be afraid to say I'm lonely. That's your worry after all. Choose a simple phrase, but I'm still fighting to be around when she hits the wall. This is am I strong now? You should let me see this love. strong. Now you should let me see this love ain't